My name is Guillermo Mena. I'm a visual artist. I'm from Rio Cuarto, Córdoba, Argentina. I began to use charcoal when I was around 15 years old. I was basically working with graphite before, just pencil on paper, and one time I realized that I needed to work on larger formats. Charcoal was introduced to me by my grandfather, and he was an architect and architecture student and a drawing teacher at a high school, and he introduced me to charcoal, and he helped me to understand how can I use the charcoal to expand the material and to try to cover larger formats and bigger surfaces.
One of my friends, and I went in there and I was blown away. They have this really weird window in their bathroom where like the whole bathroom is this gigantic circular window.
It's gonna wait a bit.
There's no way to cover it. It's so good. All that money. Yeah.
But when I started to make these experiences of making my own charcoal, that is 2017, that charcoal that came from a specific place began to gain a particular like emotional content. So the material, instead of being just a tool to make a drawing, began to be part of the drawing itself, like thinking about the drawing as something that can be expanded. And so it expanded until getting into the shape or state that can be able to draw or to make a mark. So in that sense, the material, when I'm using the material that I made on this charcoal making actions, it definitely gains another feeling, and that influences a lot the way that I work, and sometimes it is highly intentional. On many drawings a long time ago, the idea of some catastrophical landscapes began to appear. In the beginning, I was most focused on storms or weather phenomena, and this began to gain some force on like the idea of transmitting some nostalgic and maybe I always love to relate these stormy weather images to an inner feeling. By going with this experiment on these kind of images, I began to try to go a bit further and create like fictional landscapes that they were more focused on this idea of fear, of a constant fear of a catastrophe that is present, and it in a way shapes how we relate with our surroundings or with our sense of home with a place. So many of these landscapes has to do with crumbling landscapes, as if there were a way to present the idea of home crumbling. And I think there's a point there with science fiction where so images have been connected to some natural catastrophes that in the beginning have been appearing mostly in a science fiction imaginary or on how the world could end or how our world can end, and how we culturally have been like building and creating these possible ends of the world through history. It is part of the work. I mean, like the process of drawing, the performative aspect of it, and when I decide to show it and to make or make it visible, I'm like instantly putting it inside this part of the work. But sometimes it's another decision to make. I mean, there's many things on the drawing, if you go to the gallery, to the space, that you will instantly get the idea of that there was an action there, and there was a body, there was someone that was walking through the drawing. I think one of the most rewarding things were like when some exploration on a drawing or maybe in an installation or an material action in a way through some results that if you analyze them you can apply that to a personal research. So maybe the most rewarding thing is that when you artistic process start to give answers to your personal search and vice versa. I mean, when that happens, I think suddenly everything makes sense, and it's one of the best moments, I think.